Hey guys, Jaeger262 here with another vehicle showcase from the French update, and I am looking at one of the most iconic vehicles in the French tech tree and perhaps one of the most iconic French tanks in gaming, and that is of course the AMX-50. And the reason it's so iconic is if you play World of Tanks, you will recognize this as the AMX-50 100, the tier 8 auto-loading monster, and it retains a lot of those characteristics in this game, which is what makes it so very cool. It has a 9-round clip firing at 4 seconds in between with a 16-second reload, and mine's down to 15.8 because I have an upgrade for that, which I'll get into at the very end of this. At 320 alpha damage, 280 millimeter penetration. It's very average stats, like all the other French tanks in the line. I'll pull those up for you now. Pretty average. If you go stock, it has the worst DPM in the game, because the reload is so long, but that does not reflect how this tank is actually played. And that's because the average reload of tier 3 main battle tanks is about 7 to 8 seconds. And so just like I've been doing with the rest, I have of course the M60 and the Leopard line, because these are French tanks. They're going to play very similar to these. But this is where it deviates. This tank is unique not only in the game as being the only oscillating turret vehicle or the only auto-loading French tank below tier 9. There could be another one, but I doubt it. I think it's just tier 10s that have that ability. It's unique in the French line itself because it doesn't really play. If you look at these stats, it doesn't feel, and I can tell you from playing it, I have 2 PvE games I'm going to show you, it does not feel like a French tank or a European main battle tank. It feels very close to an aggressive Eastern design like the T-62, which is why I have that here. Now the damage is the lowest, but the penetration is pretty good. It has the same penetration as the Leopard. And the reason it's so much lower than the Leopard in terms of damage per minute is because it does have that 15-second reload time. But you have to remember that you can, for 9 rounds, you can fire at 4 seconds in between, which is pretty good, and it might not be 4 seconds exactly. Let me just double check that. Where's the info? Right. It says salvo reload is actually 6.6 seconds, not 4. My mistake. But even so, 6.6 is far better than even the Leopard's 7 seconds. It's a whole half a second more. So for 6.6 seconds, you can fire 9mm, or not 9mm, I'm sorry, 9 rounds. And that's going to give you quite the competitive edge. And the reason it does it is because its HP pool matches the T-62, but its armor, 154 in the front, 280 on the turret, composite. It blocks so much damage. You can play this tank just like a T-62, very aggressive, and I recommend that you do, and that's why I'm only looking at firepower upgrades. It's very mobile. As you can see, it has 51 kilometers, which is only a little bit better than the other 2 vehicles, but its whole traverse is an amazing 33 degrees a second. It gets great camouflage at 19%, which is the same as the Leopard. It gets a 390 meter view range, which is average. 8 degrees of gun depression, average. Maximum deviation 0.14, and that's important because that is the best maximum deviation than the Leopard. And the reason that's important, with a 1.8 second aim time, the best aim time of any of these vehicles, and the reason this is so important is because you can fire on the move with incredible accuracy. If you look at the way I have this set up, proved trigger mechanism gives me 15% reload, which is at 15.8 seconds. You see, I have improved recoil control for more accuracy in general, but it's mostly for on the move. I don't care about anything else in this vehicle because it is so mobile. When you're looking at an enemy just like this, it seems on the model here that you're completely wide open, but you're looking at if it was being shot by another AMX-50. You take that to any other tier 3, and in PvE, which is the only game mode I've been able to play so far, I haven't gotten PvP yet, which makes this tank feel really weird because while it's super crazy powerful, at PvE everything is super crazy powerful at this tier, so you don't get a good appreciation for it. But if I get into a PvP game, I'll definitely put it up if I do it before I upload this, because I want to see how that feels. I want to show you how that feels. But if you take any kind of AFV or something that's firing heat, it looks like all this is open, but trust me, just the angles on these turrets, it's not. This is not accurate at all to what you'll see in the gameplay. I mean, it bounces every one of these vehicles. I think the vehicle I see the most of is a Scorpion. And there you go, you see a little bit. You just go hold down on a Scorpion, it can't pen you at all. Another vehicle I saw a lot of in my gameplay is this one, the XM800, no pen. The BMP, BMD, of course the AMX-50. So it's incredibly effective against lightly armored vehicles, and even if you angle it, against main battle tanks. So get into positions where you are in the front of your team. You are aggressive. This will give you that edge in combat. You'll be able to take more damage. You'll be able to deal more damage accurately. Never stop moving. This thing is designed to constantly be on the move and deflect shots off. This way, if you stop moving, all this is flat. All of it. So you want to constantly be moving and wiggling and always firing on your opponents. And you'll hit them most of the time. As you'll see in my replays, I hit some crazy shots just moving and just hit a target that's moving in the opposite direction while my turret's going the different way, and the shell still hits it. I can't explain how that happens. It's not skill on my part, it's just the accuracy of this vehicle. It is very aggressive, and so I highly recommend that you play this vehicle. It's my favorite MBT right now in the French line, just because it doesn't play like any of the other French tanks. It is really quite enjoyable. So thank you so much for watching this. Please stay tuned for the PvE gameplay, and I'll explain a little bit more about how it operates during those games. And if I have PvP, I'll put it up at the very end, but I don't think I'll be doing a PvP game in this tank. I don't foresee myself getting into a battle. This isn't really a popular tier, and with the way that they changed PvP for this update, they only are putting in bots at tier 1 and tier 2. So it's unlikely, but if I do get it, I'll put it up because I definitely want to see how this works. I want to show you how it works in those game modes. Because again, I think out of all the main battle tanks, even the OF40, this is the only one that is not light support, but instead of very heavily armored, very aggressive, very fast heavy tank. And the reason I use the term heavy tank is not just because it's a heavy tank of all the tanks, but it just feels like it. It feels the same way if you've played that game. If you haven't, play it here. It's going to feel the same. It's going to feel great. So without further ado, let's get stuck into some gameplay and see how it performs there.
All companies down. Capturing the port is up to you now. Black Company, stand by for new intel. Our airstrike team is en route to destroy cartel contraband. Intel suggests it's hidden amongst emergency relief supplies. See if you can find the contraband before everything is destroyed.
Hey guys, the Jaeger 262 playing some PvP on Ricochet. I'm going to show you just how to be aggressive and accurate in the AMX-50. It's a really great tank, super effective at doing that. And with the 2-second aim time, it can hit just about anything if it's able to, you know, it's gonna do like that. Didn't get quite the elevation I needed. And I'm going to show you how this 9-round clip, even with the full reload of 15 seconds,
identify. Hostile PC. Target locked on. Target's
heavily
gone.
armored, fast, aggressive. That is the AMX-50. It does those things really well.
Identify. Hostile tank.
Very rarely do I find myself in situations where I can't fight my way out of them in PvE or where my tank is inadequate.
Threat destroyed. Identify target. Hostile tank. Target locked.
been penetrated 3 times so far, so
Target locked.
it's good news. And again, we've already done 2,000 damage. You can fire really well on the move in this vehicle. I mean, it's not the best. No vehicles really adapt at firing on the move. This vehicle comes close. I mean, it's just an incredible main battle tank.
You're almost there. Helicopters are en route to
Going
support
for a
you.
reload right now before I get to the next part of this. Yeah, I mean, you can snipe with this thing if you really want to. You'll see that in my PvP gameplays. If you really wanted to make this a sniper and play long range, you could do that. You have the armor and the mobility to get into good positions, take hits, and the accuracy to continue to snipe.
We'll take that one out.
If you want to play it like this and just be completely aggressive, go for it.
Target locked on. Identify target. Hostile tank.
Keep moving. That looks like one of ours.
We'll get a lot of spotting XP in this vehicle.
Target locked on.
Go in here. Angling this vehicle
Contraband.
is
Good
actually
job.
effective.
We'll take that one out.
It's not, again, as effective. None of the French main battle things are effective at angling, but the AMX-50 can pull it off, as you're watching me do it right now.
Target eliminated.
I mean, it roped to almost 4,000 damage.
Identify.
In this game,
Hostile tank. Target
still
locked
got a
on.
long way to
Target
go.
down.
Well, not really. Only 4 minutes left. It's still doing incredible stuff.
Target locked on.
Keep moving. That looks like one of ours.
Yeah,
Identify target. Hostile tank.
couldn't pull that off. I was really trying to ram him, but our whole traverse, and while our mobility is good, it's not that good. It's not going to keep up with an aim. Wishful thinking, right?
Target locked.
We have control of the
That's
docks
it,
and
that's the
cartel
game.
ships. It will take some time to sort through the contraband here.
Alright, so again, that was a really good game. They're not usually that great, but just aggressive. Play this tank as aggressively as you want, or as pulled back as you want. It's really, you can make it your own. You do get the blue star for most XP, we get the teamwork medal, and we get the target medal. I've gotten these 3 medals every single game I've played in PvE with this thing. It's just great. We do 4,900 total damage and 347 base XP. So you really can't go wrong with the AMX-50. We got 6 kills, almost 5,000 damage at tier 3 in a relatively rapid game. It's effective, it's fast, it's armored. It's just a good vehicle in PvE. It struggles a little bit in PvP, but it's still relatively very good. So stay tuned for my PvP games. I'm going to do 2 of those because I think it's more important for new players to see that this tank can excel even when the game ends in a defeat. So stay tuned for those, and thank you so much for watching. Hey, what's up guys, it's Jaeger262 and doing some PvP gameplay with the AMX-50. Oh dang. On Lost Island, Oceania. So it's not one of my favorite maps. The reason I don't like it is because it's so large and I never know where to go on this map. So what I'm going to try to do is follow the other AMX, that's an AMX-30, and move up to like the E5 location, just a central play on the airfield, so that way we can play hull down. Now, we're bottom tier in this game, and there's a lot of AMX-30s, there's a Lab 300, T-64-600. These are all tanks that can not only easily penetrate us frontally, but we will have a hard time penetrating them and trading shots because we are tier 3. So I want to avoid any type of open conflict. As you can see, there's there's a sniper somewhere. There's already an MBT brawl. That's another thing the French vehicles are insanely good at, which I keep highlighting, not only because they're light support, they're very fast, very mobile, and so they can push flanks very aggressively. Not pretty aggressive, not like, it's like a Merkava, you know, you get one on the team and you just kind of go for it. This is like next level. Alright, yeah, I'm using auto aim because there's that accuracy. Only 2 seconds to aim. No pen. Alright, blocked the shot from the BMD. And that's pretty much how this tank goes. I mean, oh Jesus, oh God. And there you can see that heat. I was talking about how good it is at penetrating last night, or not penetrating, but blocking damage, and it's very effective. But what it's not effective at is blocking heat, and that's because it's a World War II style hull, all flat except for the turret. It has no way of protecting against heat rounds. ERA didn't exist when this tank was built. They didn't have a concept of what heat rounds were like, what they could do. That was all Cold War developments. Okay, so that's not a very good game, even with 900 damage. Got flanked pretty easily, and again, this was what I was trying to highlight in the AMX-50 review. All of my team's MBTs swung far around to the B line and made a B line for the enemy cap. Now, I don't like playing like that. That's why I don't really like low tiers. I don't like rushing cap circles or doing anything like that. And I'm not saying that because it's like I lost because I didn't play like that. I didn't play with my team, which is why I did lose. I should have supported them. I'm just being honest. I like a fight, but as you can see, even in games where I get really good fights and my team is there and they're supporting me, I'm still not a stellar player. The AMX-50 gameplay I showed you was rare form for me, and the AMX-40 where I got 4 kills just sitting on cap, that was also rare. I'm not that good at PvP, so we'll see if I can record another one and see how that goes, and I'll throw out the post-game stats after this, but I think I'm pretty much done with this replay. Not really a great game on my part, and I apologize, but at least you can see that there are a lot of things I forgot to cover, and by a lot, I just mean the one big one, heat rounds. And if I can get back to there's my tank. Heat rounds will shut you down. It's all black now, so you can't really see it, but if you look right under the turret, this curved armor is really great for blocking AP. That's why I didn't mention when I should have, but it can't block heat, and so that the M113 ACAV was able to pop a shot right into here and completely shut down my turret and take away 40% of my hit points in one hit. And he's a tier 3, not tier 4, that's a tier 3 tank destroyer, and he was able to do that in one hit. And that is a devastating blow, and we're about to lose. But that one little thing that I forgot to mention is actually a very big thing that impacts a lot of systems on this tank. It relies heavily on its turret like all tanks do. It relies heavily on its ammo rack like all tanks, and it is very easy to damage those things. This thing has module damage that is prevalent. It'll take any hit from heat will probably do some kind of module damage, and so not a very good game. 22,000 credits, only 965 damage. It's really bad. It puts us almost in last place. So we'll see how the next game goes. Hey guys, Ager262 back doing some AMX-50 PvP gameplay. And something that I noticed that I forgot to mention last time is, while I'm still going to play this tank aggressively because it's mobile enough to, and Pipelines is a good map to kind of push into the 9 line and hold that position, and you're going to pretty much be able to dominate and flank. However, what I forgot to mention is that because this tank was designed post-World War II and was part of a very unique tank school that only existed in the 50s, trying to breach modern technologies with World War II knowledge and design, it has no defense against heat. Last PvP game I played, I was hit by an M113 at tier 3 with one heat round, and not only did it take out my turret and my gun, but it also took 40% of my hit points with it. So this cannot take hits from any type of heat round. Just know that. Also, it is easily spotted. I mean, that OF-40 moved up quite a bit, but last game too, I was spotted right on my spawn. We were on Lost Island in Oceania, and just driving around, I was spotted. So be wary of that. The camo factor of 19% is fine when not moving. It's better than like the T62 next to us, but still, it can make or break us. And right now I'm struggling to find a way to get around these guys and support them. Alright, took that kill. Ugh. Ooh, what the heck is that? Alright, so this was a gross miscalculation on my part. Again, I'm no PvP genius. What the hell? Okay, so that's another thing Armored Warfare needs to fix. There was nothing in front of me when I made that shot, but it registered as if I hit a building. So, boom, there's where that 2 seconds of aim count immensely. Yeah, the Zalo is still terrorizing our team. There's that good spotting range. It's just absolutely incredible. So it can outspot opponents, which is always important. Oh, son of a bitch. Sorry, I don't mean to. That's what's spotting us. The Magok just. Wow, I did not support my team at all. That is very much my fault. Very much something I shouldn't do in the future. Alright, second kill of the game. I really messed up. That is bad when an entire tier 4 tank is able to sneak behind you because you're too tunnel visioned. We're getting low rolls with this 277. Right, that chieftain doesn't know if he wants to come after me or not. Alright, so I'm on a full reload, so I'm going to get out of dodge right now. Or at least attempt to get out of dodge. So you can see me running away. Oh god. So again, not a great game in this tank, just because I'm not a great player. That's another defeat for me, but I feel like it went better than the last game. Feeling pretty good for it. I'm getting a feel for this tank. But as you can see, in PvE, and the reason why I said you don't get a great appreciation for how good the rate of fire is, like you just did here, how great the aim time is, because I was able to hit multiple targets sniping from far away, something that none of the other French main battle tanks can do in Armored Warfare. However, the flip side of that is you get no appreciation in PvP for the armor that it has. You're usually going to be fighting tier 4s, not just other tier 3s, and so you're going to get hit and penetrated very easily. Now, of course, in my situation, half of my hit points were lost because I again messed up and trapped myself with 3 opponents in a corner. So no tank is going to be able to sustain that kind of firepower or damage. So the way I died in this game has nothing to do with the armor. It just shows you that those hit points don't really go a long way in PvP. They go a longer way in PvE. So it's just something to think about. So defeat on pipelines. Waiting for the post-game stats. 2600 damage isn't terrible. It gets me the Iron Star medal for most XP, Master Gunner for hitting 80%, because again, that 1.9 seconds of aim time is crazy accurate. This thing is like a laser. So do 2400 experience, puts us at the top of our team. Not terrible. And so overall, it's an okay tank. I might do another PvP game, I might not. If I don't, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, I'm going to do other vehicle showcases now that I've wrapped on the French tree. I'm going to try to take a look at my favorite tank destroyer, which is the M1134 Striker, or maybe the worst vehicle, some of the worst vehicles in the game. Do like a worst series, starting with the OT-64 Cobra, which I've never played, but I know it's hated by a lot of players. It's like the ZBL-08, which I loved, but a lot of people hated. So I might do a showcase on that vehicle of the tank destroyer. Any vehicles anybody wants me to do, just comment a vehicle of your choosing, and I'll throw up a showcase video of it. But thank you for staying tuned through the entirety of the French showcase. Throw up a like for this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.